we call channels. The research on the website and buy in store, or the research in store and buy online. They care about convenience. At Matalan, we sell clothing, homewares, underwear, furniture, shoes, items for your kitchen and items for your bathroom. Our strength has always been the connection with the customer, but we faced a fundamental challenge. Our teams, our data, our goals, but we were marketed. Everything sat in channels. How could we serve this increasingly omnichannel customer and remain relevant as a retailer when our marketing wasn't aligned with how today's customer really behaves? Say you're buying a school uniform for your kids. You do a bit of research online, you check the price, you check the stock, you check the quality. But then you might want to go to the store to buy it, see it for yourself and check the fit. Google's technology allowed us to understand with high confidence the full omnichannel journey for our customers. How many people clicked on an advert, visited our store, and then bought a product. For example, bidding on luggage online wasn't giving us the best e-commerce returns. But when we factored in store sales, it was one of our highest returning lines. With the data that Google provided us with, we saw that mobile was the single biggest driver of footfall and sales in our stores. Reorganising a 30-year-old business for the mobile age was never going to be easy. Our marketing was very traditional, but having powerful data like Google store visits alongside our existing store sales data made the case for building more local tactics into our online strategy. So here in Knaresborough, we trialled bidding more for customers that were in close proximity to the store and found that they were much more likely to visit after clicking on an ad. So you might see an ad here, but you wouldn't see an ad here. Having the right KPIs and metrics in place means we can run these experiments and really understand what difference it makes to our bottom line. I think any organisational change was always going to be a big job. But with these insights and attributing revenue, we'll be able to drive a much better customer experience, and that will be something that really drives the growth for our business.
Hey everyone, welcome to Google Partners Connect, broadcasting live from the Googleplex here in Mountain View, California. We're thrilled to have you all with us today. My name is Matthias, and I'm a partner marketing manager here at Google. We have a great lineup of speakers here for you. They're here to talk about growing your retail business online and how to adjust your marketing strategy in preparation for Black Friday. We'll also take a closer look at some of the strategies you can carry out with your Google partner to make the most of your advertising budget. But before we get started, I'd like to remind you of a couple of things. First, the Google partners in the room can help answer your questions during and after our broadcast. They have all been certified by Google to help grow your business online and are the true experts in their field. Second, we'd love to answer your questions and hear your feedback on Twitter. Just remember to use the hashtag #PartnersConnect to join the conversation. Now it's my pleasure to turn things over to our first speaker, Kristen Johansson. Kristen is a veteran in the retail space and head of industry at Google. She'll be presenting on the evolution of the path to purchase in retail and how you can leverage digital advertising to reach the right customers at the right moment. Welcome, Kristen.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen Johansson, head of industry for retail here at Google. I've been working at Google for about 11 years, and I've spent much of that time working with retailers, both large and small, to help them truly understand and unlock the power of Google's advertising solutions. And that's why we're here today. We want to help you as retailers unlock and leverage the power of Google's tools, platforms, and insights so that you can be as successful as possible this holiday season. And I'm really excited to speak with you today because we have such a short amount of time to make a very large impact. And while that may seem daunting, the good news is it's really attainable. My hope is that you'll leave today with some actionable insights so that you can truly increase your momentum heading into such a crucial period in the retail calendar. Before we get started, I wanted to pause for a few seconds and think about holiday last year. If you're by your computer, open up a blank doc or grab a pad of paper and a pen and jot down a few of the key challenges and opportunities that you faced. Great. So specifically, answer this. Did your website crash? More importantly, did your mobile website crash? And how were your conversion rates on mobile? If the answer to some of those questions, or if some of the things that you jotted down were not exactly positive, don't worry, you're not alone. I talk with retailers, large, small, medium, omni-channel, and e-commerce only, all day, every day, and I can tell you they share many of the same challenges and probably some of the challenges that you're facing. And the reason for this is that shopping behavior has changed drastically in the past 5 years. We all hold a mobile device in the palm of our hands, and with that, we have access to information whenever and wherever we want it. This is making us more informed than ever before, and as shoppers, more purposeful than ever before. And we see this in the data. Over the past few years, we've seen foot traffic decline in store pretty drastically. Conversely, in the same amount of time, we've actually seen that in-store retail sales has increased. And if we look more closely at the data, we can look at things like whether somebody is engaged with a Google Shopping ad. And if they have, they're actually 25% more likely to purchase something in store. And on average, they spend about 10% more. So what this really means is that users and shoppers are going into store more prepared, more purposeful about what they want. And this is a trend that as retailers, we really need to keep in mind as we plan our advertising. I actually see this in my own behavior. If I think back to 5 years ago, I would go into a store 6, 7, maybe 8 times on the quest to find the perfect gift for my husband. I would spend time looking at what was the latest fashions and what gadgets were trending. I would talk to store clerks and see what other shoppers were buying. And I just spent a lot of time browsing in store, going back and forth. Well, in the past 5 years, what has not changed is I'm still on the quest to find the perfect holiday gift for my very hard to shop for husband. However, my life has changed. With 2 small kids at home, I don't have time to go into the store 6 or 7 or 8 times. But I do have access to information that I can prepare myself before I go in store. So while I'm standing online in a store or in transit on the way to work, I'm able to do the same research that I would do in store. I'm able to look to see what's trending and understand what the hottest items are. And I really enter that store more prepared than ever before, and I know what I want to buy. I'm still going into store to buy that perfect gift, and I'm still spending the same amount. In fact, I'm probably spending more. I'm just very purposeful when I walk into the store. And a common pitfall that we see retailers fall into is they're still assuming that shoppers want to be educated in store, when in fact they want to be educated before they walk into store. And the successful retailers are figuring that out, and they're making sure that they're truly present throughout the entire shopping journey, preparing the shoppers before they walk into the store. To be successful, retailers really need to be present both on and offline and allow shoppers to move fluidly. Because shoppers are asking for information like, is a product in stock? Can they purchase something online and then pick it up in store? Where is the store? And all of this information gives you an opportunity to help your shoppers in the moments that matter to them. One interesting piece of research that we noticed last Black Friday was that mobile queries increased 25%. This is really fascinating because what has traditionally been the largest in-store shopping day of the year, we saw shoppers taking to their mobile devices. They were looking for product reviews and what were the latest deals, and they were using that information to power their shopping experience when they actually got into store on that exciting day. But it's not that shoppers are just using mobile for researching or browsing, they're also buying. Last year in holiday, we saw a 14% increase in the number of transactions that were taking place on a mobile device. This year, we're expecting that momentum to vastly accelerate. We're projecting to see a 35% year-on-year growth. That means that 1 in 3 of all holiday e-commerce sales will happen on a mobile device. Mobile truly is at the center of the shopping journey, whether it's researching, browsing, or actually shopping. And as these mobile experiences accelerate, we also expect to see an acceleration in the purposefulness around shopping. So what does this mean for you as retailers? Well, you have a great opportunity to win that purposeful shopper, but you need to be there to meet and exceed their expectations, both on and offline, in all these moments that matter to the shopper. And you could do that by building toward the trends that are driving consumer behavior. So very simply put, we've bucketed these trends into 3 areas: discoverability, personalization, and frictionless or seamless experience. I'm going to unpack these 3 trends and go a little deeper on them. Let's first start with discoverability, or as I like to say, helpfulness. Years ago, a shopper or consumer might purchase the same brand year after year after year, or they may shop at the same retailer year after year after year. Perhaps it was a brand of soap that their family had always used, or it was a retailer that their parents had shopped in. And they would almost mindlessly continue to follow those same purchase patterns with a lot of loyalty. But something shifted in the past couple of years. Maybe consumers are wiser to the plethora of choices that are available to them, but they're willing to trade that loyalty for the brand or the retailer that is there in the exact moment that they're looking for help. And this is a really crucial thing for retailers to understand, because the great news for all of you is that brand loyalty is up for grabs like never before. We can look at some of the data points. Only 1 in 10 smartphone users are sure about the brand they want to shop for when they first begin researching. And 67% of smartphone users say and agree that they are looking for the best information, regardless of the company that is actually providing that information. And so it's important that we are there as these guys are raising their hands and looking for information. And search is an amazing vehicle to help you do just that. In fact, search is one of the most influential vehicles that will enable you to reach shoppers in the various points of their purchasing path. But in order to be truly helpful, it's more than just being present. We need to understand shoppers' intent. Because in today's world, the one-size-fits-all approach to marketing just doesn't work. Shoppers are expecting that retailers and brands know them and understand their preferences and take advantage of all the signals that they're sending out. They truly want a tailored message delivered personally to them. In fact, 9 out of 10 customers agree that they would rather buy from a company that predicts their intent and suggests products. So pause for a moment and think about last holiday. Did you take advantage of all the signals that your shoppers and prospective shoppers were sending out? Or did you rely more on a mass marketing approach? Let me share with you a brief example of why this is so powerful. A couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine shared this story with me. She had a wedding to go to that kind of snuck up on her, and she did not have the right dress for it. So, being a busy mom with a full-time job, she just didn't have time to go in the store and browse for the perfect dress. She started to look online and did a couple of searches, and then got interrupted and pulled into something else, and went back and went on a couple of websites and got pulled away and did something else. And one retailer in particular really took advantage of all the signals that she was sending out, all of the raising of her hand looking for help. And they started to really personalize some suggestions for her and serve her some ads with suggested dresses that she might like. And this was extremely helpful for my friend who was busy and didn't have the time to go into store. And one of these dresses in particular really caught her eye. And though she had not shopped at this retailer before, she actually decided to transact. And she went through the most seamless and easy, frictionless shopping experience and walked away as a new, loyal, and happy customer. Which brings me to my last point. In today's world, friction absolutely means failure. Today's customers are asking for information. They're asking for that information to be personalized. But then they expect that every point of their shopping journey is going to be seamless and frictionless. So what does frictionless mean? Well, mobile site speed is table stakes. In fact, 53% of users will bounce from a mobile site if it takes more than 3 seconds to load. Yet on average, mobile sites take about 22 seconds to load. So that's 7 times slower than what customers are expecting. Site speed is directly correlated to conversion rates, so it is critical, if you focus on nothing else, to really make sure that you are increasing your site speed and making it as fast as possible. About 18 months ago, Google embarked on an initiative called AMP, or Accelerated Mobile Pages. Alex is actually going to talk a little bit more about this later in the presentation and in some ways that you can take advantage of our AMP platform, but these pages load 85% faster than a typical mobile page. But the expectations go beyond site speed. Customers are expecting, if you sell a commodity, that they can check out automatically. They're expecting that they can talk to your website versus type because, frankly, it's faster. They're expecting automatic payments to be enabled. So as you think about your overall site experience, really think through, are you making this as frictionless and easy as possible for shoppers? We covered a lot in 15 minutes, and it's really important that we think about how we can move and accelerate going into this holiday period. So Alex is going to take you through some really tactical ways that you can lean in to the 3 buckets that I talked about: discoverability, personalization, and frictionless experiences. And it's my hope that some of the tools and platforms that we talk about today will help you lean in and be as successful and profitable as possible this holiday season.
Thank you so much, Kristen. It's interesting to see how the behavior of today's consumers has changed over the last years, and that mobile is now the center of the holiday shopping journey. So before moving on, I'd like to take a moment to highlight one thing you mentioned about our Google partners. To be certified, our Google partners must follow our best practices, pass a comprehensive advertising exam, manage a significant AdWords investment, and prove their ability to help businesses succeed online time and time again. So with that said, I'd like to introduce our next presenter, Alex Chen. So Alex is joining us today to talk about the power of Google Shopping and provide recommendations both partners and advertisers can implement. Alex?
Thank you, Matthias, and thank you, Kristen, for setting everything up and setting up the expectations of what consumers have or what they're going through today and what they're thinking about. So hello, everyone. My name is Alex Chen, and I'm a product marketing manager at Google Shopping. I'm really excited to be here today, just with everyone else, to really talk to you guys about how you can use some of the strategies and tools on Google Shopping to really reach consumers this holiday season. A little bit about myself. Just a couple years ago, I was in your shoes. I worked in online retail, and I had to work on holiday campaigns to try to find the right customers, drive sales during that really important period. So I get what you're going through, and hopefully today, what we talk about, along with the Google partners with you today, we can really get to a good point to get you guys feeling very comfortable and really excited for the holiday season. So Kristen brought up many points around the difficulties and the challenges that are going to be coming up with 3 different buckets that we want to frame the holidays around. So I'm going to cover in these 3 buckets what we want to talk about and what are the best tools to go through with them. First, let's talk a little bit about discoverability. It's really important to be present to drive discovery. If you're not there, you're missing out on valuable impressions and ultimately conversions. We've seen that it's 3 times more likely for your ads to be engaged if you're in the top positions, especially on mobile. And this is because it's like the top shelf in a store. When you go into a retail store and you actually see the entire shelf, you're probably looking at things that are eye level. Well, that's the equivalent of these first top ads on Google Shopping. So let's talk about a couple strategies you can do to think about where you can get to this top shelf. So first, let's talk about identifying when your customers are really ready to buy. Timing matters a lot, especially during the holiday season. So with Google Trends, it's a free and fast and easy tool to take a look at different historical values of search intent from consumers. For example, if you want to look at your top products, your top brands, or even just the words sales or deals, you can enter all of those into Google Trends and take a look at last October and last November and see when interest started beginning and then when they actually peak. Likely that'll peak around Black Friday. But if you think about it, people start looking probably early on, weeks before that. So if you want to start advertising sooner, it's good to think about that in terms of your strategy. Also, if you sell across different countries, you can also use Google Trends to look in specific geographical locations like the US, Canada, or anywhere else in the world. Just make sure that when you do look at other countries, you do localize those search terms so that you're not looking for deals, the words deals in, let's say, Germany. Also, as you plan ahead for all the holiday traffic, here are some other really great insights to get you started thinking how early you want to set your budgets or how early you want to start some of your promotions and campaigns. So 54% of shoppers started planning their holiday shopping the day after Halloween. So that's 20 to 25 days before Black Friday. So how can you start getting your products and budgeting all your campaigns to get those things started now to get in front of your shoppers? And last year, 21% of online retail sales grew on Black Friday by 21%. Kristen mentioned the importance of online sales during Black Friday, and that's just another stat for you to think about, really thinking about planning towards that and sprinting towards that time. Also, to really emphasize the importance of mobile, US Cyber Monday mobile sales grew by 34%. That's a huge amount of mobile growth, and that's only going to continue this year. And lastly, as you think about some of the more timing anticipating all this holiday traffic, think about how you want to get your promotions ready too. So if you have sales and if you have discounts, sure, they might be starting on Black Friday, but get shoppers aware of that in advance. 46% of shoppers said that free promotions and free shipping promotions are deciding factors of where they want to shop. So if they know well in advance, they're going to start planning for those promotions during Black Friday. And lastly, if you don't have already, have kind of a handy calendar just on your desk, print it out. You can probably use this slide or work with your Google partner that you're sitting with. And think about just having these key dates for you to reference all the time. And here are some of the other key dates that you may not think of during the holiday season, especially in December. So we know about Black Friday, and we know about Cyber Monday, which are going to be November 24th and November 27th. There's also December 16th, which is the day that the 7-day free shipping expiration happens. So after that day, it's probably harder for you to promote free shipping, and anyone shopping and being thrifty probably wants that free shipping. So you're going to go with that 7-day shipping. And lastly, a really important date is December 22nd, which is the final date for the overnight 2-day shipping cutoff, which is probably my favorite and worst day because that's when I'm doing all of my purchases. But like me, there are a lot of shoppers who are going to be looking for last-minute gifts, last-minute selections, and you want to be able to get that before Christmas Day. So when you think about having all of this timing and all of these campaigns setting up, typically you have one campaign throughout the entire holiday season. One strategy we suggest taking part during the holiday season is using multiple campaigns so you can actually budget manage and time and plan different types of strategies you have for the products that you sell. So if you typically have one core campaign, it's really simple to just have one budget managing everything. All of your products are in there, and you just let it run throughout the year. If during the holiday you have different promotions for, let's say, top products or things like doorbusters that just get people onto your site so they can shop for other products, consider taking some of those products and putting them into a different campaign and tier them, like we kind of suggest in this image. The example here talks about profit density, so thinking about the products that are going to drive the most profit during the holiday season, and we kind of layer that on top as our most high priority. Then we think about how do we layer the rest of the campaigns throughout with maybe products that will drive a lot of sales but not as much, and the rest of the products that are all going to be there. So when you create these different tiers of campaigns, as I mentioned, you can have really great budget flexibility. So you can say, I'll always allocate X amount of dollars to your core campaign while being able to have some budget for your top seasonal sellers or your top sales sellers. And the great thing about having multiple campaigns in Google Shopping is that you can use priority settings with each of the campaigns to say which bids you want to use. So you can actually leave your core campaign completely untouched and just let it go and set that as a low priority. And then add in other products to your other campaigns with high or medium priority. And then Google Shopping will default to those bids with the high and medium priority. Let's say you get to the end of the season and you don't want to rebuild every single campaign and rebuild your core campaign. You can pause out those two other high priority and medium priority campaigns and then just run your core campaign like you would before and after the holiday season. Also, what's really important to think about during the holiday season is to have all of your products in the inventory eligible to serve on Google Shopping. You don't want to miss out on the next hot toy or the next hot trend because you had it in stock, but it wasn't actually showing on shopping. Think about if you missed out on the fidget spinner phenomenon. So really take a look at how you're currently uploading your data feeds and all your product information into Google Shopping. One great simple solution that we have, if you have maybe 1,000 to 5,000 products, is the Google Sheets add-on for Merchant Center. So this allows you to manage all of your products within Google Sheets. You can change, update, and edit any of the attribute information, including title, price, and availability. And then it automatically updates into Merchant Center. You don't have to go through a big process of uploading a feed and changing it because it's taking everything from that sheet. Now, if you have many, many products and it's harder to scale with Google Sheets and you're working with your Google partners for some of this, I can recommend also using something called automatic item updates. Automatic item updates is a great feature that we released last year to allow you to have Google look at your product pages, look for specific HTML code, and update your products on the fly from there. It's a great hands-off way for you to ensure that Google is taking your most relevant product information, such as price, availability, and other attributes, without you having to go in every single day to update those feeds. The one caveat to that is it takes a little bit of implementation time because you have to add that HTML code directly on your product pages. So work with your partners and see which is the best fit for you, whether it's going through the Sheet solution or automatic item updates. But you're not done yet. Once you have all your product available, there's always something that can come up during the holiday season where maybe a product becomes unavailable, maybe your inventory team changes the pricing of the product without telling you, and the price that you have in the feed or your sheets are stale. What happens then is you get disapprovals, which means your products aren't eligible for auction in AdWords and aren't going to show for shoppers looking for what you sell. What I recommend is building a cadence with your team, whether it's with the Google Partners team, your internal team, and all your staff, to have a daily check of Merchant Center and kind of go in and take a look at the diagnostics tab in Merchant Center and just see how are disapprovals looking. Sometimes you may have a couple, but if you see a lot of disapprovals, then that's a big red flag for you to take a look and work with your inventory team and your website team to figure out what's going on. If you're on the new AdWords experience, you can actually find the diagnostics report within the products page as well within Google Shopping campaigns. So you can find this information in two different places, and you can try to troubleshoot why there's disapprovals and get them fixed early and fast. I'd also suggest to have kind of a crisis response team that you can create within an email list or something within your team. So if there are disapprovals or or account violations that come from Merchant Center, they'll email that account team versus one individual person. It's during the holidays, people are going to be spending time with family or traveling or taking a break. And so you want to be able to make sure that when you have that email come through, someone has an eye and is double checking what's going on in there. So that's all great to get your products discovered. Let's talk a little bit how you can personalize some of your messaging to really reach those shoppers as they re-engage with your brand, re-engage with your site, and re-engage with your products. So the one thing that we've talked about earlier today was how promotions make a big impact for shoppers. Everyone knows that as it gets closer to the holiday season, there's going to be great deals and promotions offered by retailers such as yourself. In fact, 7 of 10 internet users look for promotions or discounts before visiting a store. So a great way to highlight that with Google Shopping is using merchant promotions. A merchant promotion is a separate feed used to upload different start times and end times of your promotion information. It could be percentage off of certain products, deals for buy one, get one free, and other types of offers that you have. So it's a really great way for you to reach out to those customers looking for that awesome deal, as well as split yourself out from the competition. Because if you're offering not only a great product at a great price, but also a great deal on that, such as free shipping, they're going to definitely click on your ad and see what you have to offer. And also, with creating a really personalized experience, you want to be able to reach out to those who are really thinking about your product or have engaged with you in the past. So with Google, we do that with 3 different audience solutions. We have remarketing, customer match, and similar audiences. Remarketing is a way to take an audience list built from past visitors of your website. say people who have visited the front page, or they've gone to a product page, or even visitors who have come to your page, added a product to the cart, and then they got caught up with, like Kristen mentioned, they got pulled out to a meeting and they kind of forgot everything. You can get to those people too. So with the remarketing list, you can create these different audience pools and have bid adjustments set to see whether or not you want to bid for people who have come to your site or are further down the funnel and almost ready to purchase, but just has something to distract them. The second audience solution is Customer Match. Customer Match is our way of taking some of your data, where you know your customers best, matching it with Google, and building a great customer list that you can also then target to. So what you can do with Customer Match is take an email list and upload it into AdWords. Google will then match those emails with assigned in Google users and create an audience list for you based on those users. So let's say you have loyalty members, or you have people who sign up for your email subscriptions and newsletters. If you have a special deal for them and you have special messaging for them, you can create that customer match and use that across both shopping and search to really reach out to those who really already love your brand or are engaging with you on other places. And lastly, Similar Audiences launched earlier this year. Similar Audiences is our third audience solution that allows you to use remarketing lists that you created, again, based on things that you know, like they visited your site, they've made a purchase and things like that, and create a lookalike audience to drive new users and new customers to help you grow your customer base. If you combine all of these things together, you can create a really great user funnel to find new customers, re-engage with your visitors, and really reach out to your loyal members. And here's an example of how this might look within AdWords. So if you look at the first three, these are remarketing lists that cover all visitors from your site, people who have browsed your product page, and also those who have abandoned their cart. And you can see you can set different bid adjustments to figure out if they're worth more as a customer to you because they're so close to the checkout. You can try to show your ads and boost that ad up. The bottom will have three different customer match audiences. And these are used, again, from your own emails and your own data of your loyal customers and those who are membership awards. You can get them to re-engage with them too. So as they're thinking about browsing for products, maybe they've bought their favorite toy for their kids in Christmas, and so they're looking for the similar brand and similar things like that, then you show up with your brand and your product at that time. And what's not pictured here is using similar audiences, which kind of, again, builds that new customer base for yourself during the holidays. You can use those remarketing lists, like all visitors and those who browse the product page, and create that lookalike audience with similar audiences. Here's an example of one retailer who did a really great job with similar audiences and was able to impact their campaigns. So GameStop is a US-based online and offline video game seller. So they use similar audiences to find new customers and saw a 30% increase in conversion rates using similar audiences compared to customers who just came in through non-audience marketing channels. So it's a really great way not only for you to get really great quality customers, but also lower some costs as well. And also, if you think about how you want to market to everyone looking for your products, there actually may be times where you don't want your ad to show up to a specific shopper, because the message you're showing is you want to look at my product, maybe not looking for what you want. And so using a smart bidding strategy to actually optimize where the intent are for people shopping is a really great way to try to take out yourself out of the auctions where you may not have gotten a purchase anyway, and emphasize more on where you would get that purchase. So let me give some examples. We actually have some headphones in the example here. And if you are looking for headphones and you search a very specific query like Bose SoundTrue Ultra, the likelihood of you actually, as a shopper, wanting to buy those specific headphones is pretty high because you know the product name, you know what it is, you're looking for the best price. And if you show up there, you're likely to get that conversion. And so with a smart bidding strategy, like enhanced cost per click or target return on ad spend, it will change the bid at the query level to bid up for that query to make sure that you're there showing where those shoppers are ready to buy. Now, conversely, if I'm looking for headphones, but I just type in cheap headphones or headphones in general, I may just be in my browsing state. And if I'm just browsing, I'm probably looking for either a different pair of headphones or I'm just learning more about the product. And if you're trying to show me your ad to get me to purchase that product, it might be a wasted click for you. And in that case, the smart bidding strategies will actually bid lower on those queries to make sure that the intent matches what you want to sell. So I would go ahead and use this if you think that this is going to be a really great way for you to optimize your spend and be able to lower your costs while really getting great savings from sales that are coming from those shoppers who have a really great intent. So let's talk about the third bucket, friction meets failure. So for many shoppers, you have to meet them not only whenever, but wherever as well. And as Kristen mentioned, this is kind of an omni-channel world now. People are on mobile devices, they're buying online, and they're buying offline. And so if you actually have an offline store, we have some really great options for you to drive foot traffic into those stores. One is highlighting local inventory. So we have a product called Local Inventory Ads used with Google Shopping, where you can send us your local inventory information from your stores, and we'll showcase in the ad how far they are from the user, as well as whether or not they're in stock. So during the holidays, it's a great way for you to use local inventory ads to drive users who want to go in to research, look, and feel, or talk to a sales associate about a certain product. Local inventory ads takes a little bit more time to implement because it has some of the intricacies of getting an offline feed from your stores as well as your Google Shopping campaign. So if you're thinking about doing local inventory ads, which I recommend you do if you have a local store, work with the Google Partners team to make sure that you can get everything implemented far in advance before the holiday. Also, you can use location targeting to bid for more customers near your stores. Within Google Shopping and AdWords, you can use bid by distance to be able to select your store address and then actually have a bid adjustment to how far you want, a radius of where your store is to bid up on that adjustment. For example, if you want to find anybody that's half a mile away from your store so that you can actually show your brand so they think, oh, why don't I go in store and look at this product? You can set a half-mile radius and have a bid adjustment for that specific campaign and those products to boost that up. And lastly, think about using time of day bid adjustments. While that might not be specifically local, it's a really good idea to use that along with your local inventory ads and your location targeting to set when you're bidding up during those store hours when your store hours are open. The last thing you want to do is have someone who's just browsing for your products and thinking, I should go into that store, and getting to the store and it's closed. So that's a really poor user experience, and I think it's also a waste of money for you as you're driving people to in-store when it matters most. And also, we haven't emphasized this enough today, mobile is important. If you don't have a seamless experience across devices, it's really going to drive a lot of traffic away from both desktop and particularly your mobile campaigns. Last year, we said that over half of queries during the shopping season came from mobile devices. And as mobile continues to grow, both in the US and other countries, that's only going to grow during this holiday season. Kristen gave some really great and compelling stats about the importance of mobile, but here's one more. For every 1 second delay in mobile site load time, conversions fall 20%. So it's really, really important to think about shaving off those precious seconds so that when people are browsing your mobile site, they don't go back to somewhere else. So we have an awesome site called testmysite.thinkwithgoogle.com, where you can actually enter in your domain and it will tell you a score of how fast your mobile site is performing, the mobile friendliness, and also take a look at your desktop performance as well. If you take anything away from today's presentation, take that site down and do it right after this presentation. It will give you a great readout of how your site's performing and make suggestions on what you can improve just so you can get that started today, right before the holiday season. Actually, get that started today and get it done before November because people are already going to start browsing after Halloween, and so you only have a few precious months to shave off those important seconds. And here's one more shout out for those who really want to take a step towards optimizing their mobile performance. Accelerated Mobile Pages, or AMP as Christian talked about, it's been a great product for people who have gone on board to this platform to really improve the engagement of their users. So we have a couple publishers who have done case studies with us, and 90% of those publishers are experiencing higher click-through rates than ever before on their sites. And 80% of those publishers are experiencing even higher viewability. So when they're actually landing on that site, they're staying on there for longer. They're not bouncing they're reading through different product reviews, they're looking at different articles. And so having an AMP page and shaving off those seconds will really improve getting people to go through the entire purchase journey on your mobile site. So we've talked a lot about things today. Let's do a quick recap on a few steps that you can take to plan to win, as well as let's cover the 3 main themes and buckets that we've had. So start with a plan. Think about how you want to tackle the season through the budgets and the campaigns that you want to create. And then think about winning strategies that you can potentially have by structuring those campaigns using higher priority, lower priority, and which products you want to really promote. Then look ahead to really anticipate what kind of holiday traffic there is for your brand, for your products, and for your category as well by using things like Google Trends. And lastly, we didn't mention this, but it's very important to think about as well, is to continue to think about how you can have something with like a keep the lights on or your campaigns going after January. So people don't stop shopping after December 31st, so neither should your ads be on Google. Think about different categories that might do really well during January, like sales and clearance products, as well as for those shoppers who may not be buying gifts, but they're still buying winter apparel or things like that to prepare for a cold winter. And then for the 3 main themes we talked about today, always remember that discoverability drives loyalty. So start getting all of your products prepared and in place in your feed, fixing all the disapprovals and warnings, and then setting up that great campaign structure, but well and ahead of the holiday. Second, personalization. Having those mass messages are not great, and they're pretty much meaningless if you have specific shoppers you want to reach out to. Think about using great audience strategies and highlighting your promotions early on to really find those shoppers that will really engage with you. And lastly, have a seamless experience for every shopper that comes to your mobile site or your desktop page. Friction means failure, so start testing your site speed, start using different products to see where you may be lagging and where people might be dropping off, and improve that site speed. And again, if you have a local store and local footprint, think about strategies you can start using online advertisement to drive folks in store. And lastly, we've covered a lot within this past hour, and I have one last recommendation for you, everybody. Get the help you need from a Google partner. We talked about how there's a lot of best practices you can do throughout the holiday season, and the Google partners are ready with these best practices to help you execute and bring a great holiday season for you. There's tremendous value to work with a Google partner, and I hope you all will contact one after today. So thanks so much for being with us, and I'll pass it back to Matthias.
Thank you, Alex, for the great presentation. So next up, we have our live Q&A session. So we've been keeping track of your questions on Twitter, and it's still not too late to ask. Just remember to use the hashtag #PartnersConnect. So let me get the questions opened up, and we'll start. So our first question comes from George from Tampa. And the question is, how do I use Google Shopping to time my sales?
What was that last word?
How do I use Google Shopping to time my sales?
So if you're using Google Shopping, actually, do you want to take it or? Okay, great. If you're using Google Shopping to time your sales, you can actually change the sale date and the sale timing and the sale price all within the Google Shopping feed. So I talked about promotion feeds, which is when you actually have promotions that call out different percentages off. But if you just have a sale without a promotion, you can actually change that specific attribute within the Google Shopping product feed. So in the product feed, I think there's 3 columns. There's effective sale date, effective sale end date, and then effective sale price. By setting those 3 things, and you can set them as early on as you want, it will take that price at the start and then end it right after that. And when it's done, it'll revert back to the original price you have for your product.
Great, thank you. All right, next question comes from Cherise from Nashville. And the question is, what's the best way I can measure the importance of online traffic in my in-store sales?
So the best way for you to measure your online traffic with your in-store sales is to actually use 2 different metrics that we have within AdWords. It's called store sales and store visits. So we've had store visits for a little while, and I think store visits might be the best case if you have local inventory ads or if you are using location targeting. It requires a little bit of setup, so I would work with your Google partner on really trying to figure tease everything out. But what it does is it looks at anonymized data from those who have interacted with your ads and those who then go to your stores using kind of mobile information. And so it kind of connects together as an aggregate summary of kind of what your performance looks like. So you can actually see whether or not that traffic that you're having online is actually influencing the people going to your physical stores.
So Janet from Reno, Nevada asks, my mobile performance is very different from desktop, conversion-wise. How can I make sure I take that into consideration when building my online strategy?
Sure. So, this is something that a lot of retailers see because we do see that a lot of the mobile behavior is looking for things prior to their point of conversion. Although we are seeing an acceleration in conversions on mobile, a lot of people are still using mobile devices for researching and browsing. So it is hard to see that performance from like a last click standpoint. I'd recommend that you look deeper into your analytics and that you're able to really understand the path of purchase and provide some weight to the mobile clicks and in terms of what point in the stream that the stream of purchasing that affects. And so if you apply some credit, you'll be able to a click before the conversion or a view through, then you'll be able to truly understand the power of mobile. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yeah, no, I think those are great points. I think, again, you have really great experienced partners that you're sitting with today that should also be able to tackle some of this from the data perspective too. So there's a lot of good reporting in AdWords, I think, that goes into that, and I think it takes a little bit of time to tease all of it out. But that's exactly right.
Yeah, it's complicated, and it is something that really, many retailers are facing the same struggle of trying to figure out what the value of mobile is. They know it's important and that you need to be there, but how do you value it when it's not exactly the last click before the purchase?
So Catalina from Los Angeles asks, are there any categories or verticals I should focus on to leverage the increased traffic during Black Friday?
That's a good question. So I think there are going to be lifts across the board during the holiday season. I think we've seen a lot of categories such as electronics, toys and games, and apparel really spike up during the holiday season. Shout outs to Google Trends. If you actually have specific categories that you sell, you can enter those categories in during Google Trends and take a look, not only for last year, but for previous years, like what the traffic is and how that traffic has grown as well.
Yeah.
So Quentin from New York asks, how can I customize my ads to increase my conversion rates in preparation for the holidays?
We talked a lot about the various audience signals that you can take advantage of. Certainly, if you're able to tag your site, which your Google partner can help you with, you can understand where users are when they're on your web page. Have they gone through to add items into the cart? Have they engaged with your website? And then you can segment those users to really speak specifically to them. I shared an example of my friend with the dress she was looking for, and in that case, the retailer that really reached out to her took those signals and knew which dresses she was looking at and then customized those dresses in an ad format. So again, your Google partners can really help you understand where your users are on your site and then deploy some of the methods that Alex took you through in terms of our audience strategies.
Great. So Mark from Spring Hill, Florida asks, can a brick and mortar store still benefit from Google Shopping?
So for Google Shopping, you have to have an online presence. You need to have a store that sells products and that people can check out and get shipped to you. So if you are only a brick and mortar store, and let's say you have search campaigns running ads to drive people to your brick and mortar store, right now, Shopping doesn't support that. So you need to have some type of online checkout flow where people can purchase your products and get it shipped to them. But once you do, then you can actually tie that with your brick and mortar store with local inventory ads and other metrics to measure how that both impacts. If you don't have an online retail experience, I think it's a really great idea to think of having that, because I think it really helps you then grow and scale your business to reach anybody really across the world. Anything
No.
you need to? Okay.
So Strategic Marketing in LA asks, Alex, for you, can you explain how in-store conversions initiated by ads are tracked?
I can try to. I feel like the best place to actually find all the documentation around in-store conversions and how that's tracked is actually within the Help Center. So if you actually go in and type in store visits and store sales with the AdWords Help Center, it'll be the best way to find that. I personally think that it's a really complicated procedure, so I don't want to actually give you guys the wrong answer. I think it's easier to find it through the Help Center.
So Alt Media Studios in Cleveland, Ohio asks, what kind of increased sales insights do you have for post-holidays? When does the lift stop?
And some of the data that we've seen, from last year looks at going through like the first week or so after holiday, and then we see a little bit of a dip and then an increase back again as we get later in January. Obviously, there's some holidays that take place in January and then again in February, and we always see a lift around those holidays because there's a lot of promotions. But Alex did mention keeping the lights on, and it is really important that you understand that, because the day after the Christmas holiday, for example, you're seeing a lot of people go in store to return, and we do see a lift that week while people are out on vacation and off from school and shopping. I don't know if you had seen any other data points.
I think I would just add to it and think about January being winter. So even if it's not holiday sales, if you sell things like home and garden for, rain prevention, or if you sell winter apparel, like that's stuff that's going to be actually, we're in the thick of winter, I think, in January, right? So that's when everything gets really popular around that time. So think about it that way too. Don't just think of like holiday after January. Think about seasonality as well for consumers.
That's a really great point, and I know you touched upon smart bidding solutions and taking into account things like the target cost per click and the target return on ad spend. So if you have your campaign set up that way, then you're always there when people are raising their hand. So even if there's not like a massive increase in particular item, there are still people that are looking for it, and you still do need to show up. So
yeah, definitely.
Great. So the next question comes from Brian in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Would you remarket differently during holidays versus the rest of the year?
Good question.
I don't know if I would necessarily remarket differently. I might change the creative in my messages to talk specifically about the holiday. Really, when we think about personalization, it's personalized to the person, but it's personalized to the intent and to the time. So I would think about different creative, which may seem obvious, around the holidays, and especially around the urgency of gift buying. Alex took you through a bunch of key dates. So certainly really bringing out that sense of urgency in your creative messaging could be a really great tactic. But in terms of remarketing, I'm not sure that I would deploy remarketing per se differently. I would really double down on audience strategies. We're seeing tremendous success coming from the retailers that are using this and using it smartly. So I would make sure you're spending a good amount of time working with your Google partner to segment your lists and ensure that you're speaking to different people based on their intent, and doing that throughout the year.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Again, you don't need to try to create a completely brand new remarketing strategy, because you know your customers best, and they're going to be the same customers that are coming today versus coming in 3 months. But yeah, building on that sense of urgency, like really showing on the last ship day that you have a 1-day shipping option for 20% off or something. That's a great highlight that you can do across not just shopping, but across search as well, and be able to really highlight that to everybody.
Great. Our next question comes from PDQ Car Wash from Northeast Wisconsin. How do all of these trends affect a service-based business?
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I mean, I think it's hard to say, because like retail is a little bit more different, because we have sales and products during that entire season. I think you would need to take a look. I go back to Google Trends all the time. I think I just go there for my own benefit of looking at trends and information. But you can kind of see that there's going to be just people out more often shopping. People still go in store. People are still kind of browsing around and doing other things. So I think I think you mentioned you were a car wash service place. I think services are going to see potentially a lift if you look at the trends, depending on if you also kind of are tied to retail, right? If like, people are actually passing by your store to go to retail, that's just more people who are actually traveling around the city and out and about.
Yeah, and I would only add to that some of the trends, like the importance of mobile, it goes across whatever category you're in, whether you're a service or a retailer, in the traditional sense. I can't emphasize the importance of mobile any harder, because with this device that everybody's holding in the palm of their hand, they're just looking for information. And And they want that information whenever, wherever, and however they want it. And so I think no matter what industry you're in, understanding that people are looking for you on the mobile device, understanding that they want to be as informed as possible, and being present throughout the journey of their decision making is really important. Again, also that personalization, super, super critical. And then lastly, the frictionless experiences. And maybe that doesn't pertain as much to a service industry when we think about like transacting, but that being said, it does in terms of like your site speed and just being able to get the information in a seamless way. Because if you have information that a customer is looking for, a potential customer is looking for, and your site is loading at 22 seconds, they're not going to find you.
Yeah, actually, that's a really great point about mobile. And I think if you are someone who is advertising your company for people who are traveling nearby for mobile, use the location targeting that I mentioned, right? You may not be selling products with local inventory ads, but using location targeting, using time of day targeting to really say, if your operating hours are between 8 and 5 p.m., you should set your ads on between 8 and 5 p.m. and really hype up the location, saying, hey, if you're half a mile away, if you're in need of a car wash, they're going to be much more inclined to go there than if they're 5 miles away. So maybe you want to just focus on people who are closer to that.
Mm-hmm. All right, final question. You ready? This comes from Opanko Internet Marketing from Dallas, Texas. In Google Shopping, do you recommend bidding on competitor names like in search ads?
So with Google Shopping, you actually can't bid on things by keyword. And that's the great thing about it, because you're focusing on the product, and we want to figure out whether or not people are buying those products with those intent. So if you sell something that your competitor doesn't have and someone is searching for those products, you're going to show up, whether it's you're not or you aren't bidding against your competitor. So I would say more so around not thinking about keywords with shopping. It's more about focusing on the consumer, where they are, what they're doing, why they're looking for your products. If it's something, taking a step back, if they're just doing research, or if they're actually really interested in buying something immediately. Do you have anything to add?
No, just emphasizing the importance of your overall shopping feed and making sure you have as many products in there as possible, that the image quality is really good, that you have all of the information that's going to help them get serviced, because that will bump you up beyond your competitors.
Yeah. There is one tool that you can use if you do want to see what your competitors are selling that you're not selling, and that's actually in the Google Merchant Center, and it's called the Assortment Report. So again, while you're not bidding on the competitors by a keyword level, the Assortment Report actually shows you things that your competitors are selling in similar categories. So if you're selling headphones, they might be selling waterproof ones while you're selling corded or things like that. So it's a great way to see and kind of see where you are in terms of all of that. But again, it's back to the products really and the people that you're reaching.
Great. So that's all the time we have for questions today, and we're sorry if we didn't have the time to get to yours. Now, as we wrap up, I'd first like to give a big thanks to Kristen and Alex for joining us to present, and for all of you who tuned in across North America. We hope today's broadcast was informative, and we ask to please share your thoughts on Twitter or at g.co/partnersconnectfeedback. And as a reminder, the Google partners in the room are experts on all the topics we covered and can assist in setting up and managing your online campaigns. Now, on behalf of our teams here at Mountain View, California, we thank you for joining.